In this video, I'm gonna show you how to maintain the SSG96. First, we will clean the barrel, and then we will clean the cylinder and the piston and everything that's on the inside. Okay, let's get started. First, we have to disassemble the gun. So I'm gonna again start with the cheek rest. This is the right one. Let's remove this, and now we can take out the piston, just like that. Okay, we will set this aside for now, because we will clean this at the second step. Okay, then we need to disassemble the gun. For this purpose, I'm gonna take off the scope, because we don't really need it, and it's easier to work with the gun when the scope is not attached. Also the bipod. I'm gonna turn it around. Let's remove the magazine. And now I'm gonna start disassembling it. For that, I will need some basic tools. I will take a small bit, and I'm gonna unscrew this one, just get it going, and then you can unscrew it completely just with your hand. That's this thing. Now we have a screw in the middle. Just take the long Allen key, unscrew it. Same goes here. Okay, done. And now we can take it apart. So we can separate the two pieces right here. We won't need the stock. I'm just gonna set it aside. Here, don't lose this. That's the connector for the stock and the barrel. Let's keep it safe. Okay, now we need to get to the barrel, the inner barrel more specifically, and here we have a screw. Don't forget about this screw, because otherwise you will damage the thread on the barrel. This is too small. Hopefully now we will get the right one. Okay, this is perfect. So I'm gonna unscrew it almost all the way out, but I'm gonna still keep it there because I don't want to lose it. Now we can start unscrewing the barrel. This thread is pretty long, so it will take a little bit more time. The length is there to keep it stable. You know, it just adds to the accuracy. It's not wobbling at all. If you have such a longer thread, it's pretty solid. Okay, now we have it separate. And now I'm gonna remove this screw right here so I can get out the inner barrel. For that, Phillips head screwdriver will do. I'm gonna make space for it by pushing the mag release. And now I can unscrew it. Okay, we are done. I'm gonna keep the screw in there so that I don't lose it. And now we can get out the inner barrel. Just tap it a few times, and then you can slide it out, just like that. For the maintenance, we don't need to go any further than this. We will simply clean it from the inside. I like to clean from the chamber out, just like the BB is traveling through the barrel, you know, to get all the dirt out of the barrel towards the end. So that's what we are gonna do. Don't lose this insert right here. Sometimes it can just fall off, just like that. So make sure you keep this safe as well. Okay, now I'm gonna take the NOVRITSCH maintenance kit. We will need the alcohol and these pads right here. So I will take one piece, and I'm just gonna cut one stripe off it, fold it once, and I'm gonna put it in the cleaning rod, just like this. You shouldn't put more, because then it would get stuck in the barrel and you could actually damage the hopper bucking. So just use less rather than more of the cleaning tissue. Just gonna dip it in alcohol a little bit, and now make sure there is no pressure on the hop-up, because we don't want to damage the bucking. But in this case, you know, it is just free, so we are good to go. I'm gonna go from the hop-up chamber. I'm gonna run it through. Okay, we can see a little bit of dirt on there, which is good. So we will take this off, and now you can run it several times. You just take a new cleaning tissue, dip it in alcohol, and run it several times until it's clean. Let's assume it's clean, and we can put it back together. So we will put back the insert for the screw right here. Hopla. Come on. Okay, now it's there, and we can put back the clean barrel into the outer barrel. There is the spacer inside of the barrel, so you just need to wiggle it inside a little bit until you find the hole. So right now I push the insert a little bit more towards the front, so I cannot really find the hole in the insert. So I'm just gonna use the barrel and push it from the other side slightly back. And now I can try to find the hole in the insert again. So I'm just gonna wiggle it in. Okay, found it. And now I can push in the outer barrel, take a tool, push it a little bit more until you see the cutout in the hop-up chamber. And I will align the middle hole with the insert that is in the chamber. And now I can put the magazine holder back in place, make space for your screwdriver, and just screw it in place. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna put back the end cap because I needed to push the insert towards the back. So I had to remove the end cap. Okay, and our barrel is now clean. This is the basic maintenance. I would do this, once a month perhaps. If you really want to keep your accuracy top notch, you can do this after every single game. I personally don't do it. I don't think it's necessary, but once you start noticing that your accuracy is not there, just clean the barrel like this and you are good to go. For more advanced maintenance, which I would personally do once a year or so, we will clean the inside of the cylinder. So we will take needle nose pliers and we will disassemble the cylinder. Just like this, get it going. And now I can unscrew it with just my hand. And we can take out the piston, the spring, and the spring guide. Right now I'm gonna take tissues and I'm gonna wipe every junk that is in there. I'm gonna try to get it as much inside as possible with my finger. You can also wrap this around the spring and you can kind of clean everything on the inside so that it's clean. Okay, now we are done. I'm gonna take another tissue and I'm gonna wipe everything that is on the piston. I just want to have it completely clean, ready for a little bit of oil in there. Okay, that's perfect. Spring is clean as well. And now we can put a little bit of oil there. So I'm gonna take the thin silicone oil for this purpose. And here you have to be really careful because you don't want to put too much on there. If you put too much oil onto the piston inside of the cylinder, with the first shot it will go into the barrel and then you will start seeing a decrease in accuracy because the silicone will get onto the barrel. We don't want that. We just want a thin layer of silicone oil. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on my finger and I'm gonna put it onto the piston cap just to make sure that it's lubricated. And this is more than enough. I'm gonna wipe the rest on the glide rings on the piston. And I'm gonna take another drop, gonna put it on my pinky, just tiny bit, and I'm gonna smear it inside of the cylinder. If you put more, that's not good. Don't overdo it. Okay, everything is clean, everything is lubricated, so I can start assembling it again. We have the spring guide, we have the piston, the spring, and finally the piston as well. We can put it back together. You can also put a little bit of oil right here, just to make sure the O-ring is healthy and it doesn't break once you screw it in. Just smear it around, and that's more than enough. You really don't need more oil than this. Just get the thread going. Screw it in place, tighten it with the pliers. And now, at this point, also wipe off this part right here, because this is the part that goes into the bucking, and you don't want any oil in here. Now, for a smoother action, you can also put a bit of oil onto the cylinder, just a little bit. Smear it around with your finger. It's gonna make it smoother. Maybe a tiny bit more. Here on the outside, it's not that important to be, careful, because this doesn't go into your barrel or hop-up chamber. Okay, this is more than enough. Once again, wipe the tip of the nozzle. You don't want any oil on there. Okay, we can start assembling the rifle back together. I will start by assembling the barrel and the receiver. For this, I need this part right here. Make sure this screw is still out. Otherwise, if you start forcing it there, you will damage this thread on the barrel. You don't want to do it. So the screw is out, and we can screw it back together. Again, this is a long thread, so we will probably cut a little bit. Okay, there we go. Once it doesn't go any further, just move quarter turn back. Align this with the screw hole, and now we can screw this little set screw back in place, which will fix the barrel in place. There we go. Don't over tighten it. You don't want to damage the threads. And now we can assemble the stock and the upper receiver with the barrel. So just make sure this is in place. You will need it because it connects the stock and the barrel, and it makes the gun way more stable than other L96 platforms. Okay, it clicked in place nicely. Now I'm gonna secure it with the stud right here, the screw. And now we can screw these screws and connect it together. Don't over tighten it. Just with this short end is more than enough. Okay, now it's back in place. I'm gonna put the tripod or the bipod back there so it stands nicely in front of us. Make sure the spring guide stopper is down, and we can insert the cylinder. Now it doesn't go in, so we have to pull the trigger, and now it is back in place. Spring guide stopper and the cheek rest. Magazine back in. We can put the scope back in place, and we are basically done with the maintenance. So that's it. Your gun is now clean and ready to go to the field. Cleaning the barrel, you should do it more often than the piston and the cylinder, because the accuracy is in the barrel. If you overdo it with the lubrication of the piston and the cylinder, just be aware that there can be accuracy issues because the oil gets into the barrel and onto the bucking. So if you do the cylinder cleaning and the piston lubrication Just try it a few times, shoot it, see if everything is all right. If not, please clean the barrel again because you probably put too much oil in there. Just be aware of that. You don't necessarily need to do this part too often. I would do it once a year in my case. So that's it for the maintenance, and I will see you in the next one.